Okay, so the Bucks have fired Adrian Griffin as they are 30-13 in the 2 seed, and while at the time of me doing this, Doc Rivers has not officially signed, everything points to him being the next head coach. If that doesn't end up happening, then I guess I will change the title and thumbnail of the video. Let's talk about what it looked like with Griffin in the past few games, and then we can talk about what the hell this could look like with Doc. Okay, or maybe not Doc. So the Bucks are the 2 seed. They're really good. The offense is a lot of Dame and Giannis being great. Defensively, the Bucks, while they did have a stretch a couple weeks ago where I pointed out in my contenders for the East video, I was like, the Bucks are looking better defensively ever since they moved Brook to full-time drop defense, and they were like 12th in defense over a stretch or whatever. However, it slipped recently. For the season, they're in the 20s in defensive rating. The transition defense is worse, and yet even with all this said, when Brook and Giannis are on the court together, for the season overall, the Bucks have the equivalent of about a top 5 defense. It's slipped recently. It's still good, and that just, to me, has to be the biggest thing here, on top of the fact that we had a report saying that Giannis had lost confidence in Adrian Griffin, and from there, that's going to be the last straw for the head coach. Of course, we had the Terry Stotts thing very early on in the year. Look, in their recent 2 games against the Pistons, the first game, the Pistons put up like 130 points. The second game, the Bucks defense was better, but even then there were like some plays that were bad. Look, you had plays where, let's say Bobby Portis is very high up on like a Marcus Sasser screen or whatever, and so the Bucks have to go into heavy rotation, and then it eventually leads to like Giannis closing out to Alec Burks on a 3, but he's got daylight. A play or two where like Gallo is running across an off-ball screen, and Crowder and Dame both go around the screen, to where Gallo's getting an open cut at the rim, or some weird stuff in transition where like Dame is the one guy back in the paint, and so he's the one who's got to pick up like Isaiah Stewart or Bogdanovich, and then from there the Pistons just throw it to the guy. There's a size mismatch, right? Or a play where like Brook and Middleton both go out to Alec Burks at the 3-point line in transition, and then from there it's Isaiah Stewart at the rim. Like, it's just been worse defensively kind of across the board, even if there was still the signs there of when we put Brook in drop, the defense was better. Now, look, you want to look at for the season, the Bucks, they lead the league in opponent mid-rangers per game, which, yeah, that's very similar to what it was with Bud for years. It's by design. And we all know that the perimeter defense is worse, so as a result, you've got, like, De'Aaron Fox in the Kings game, which the Bucks did win off of Dame's insane buzzer beater, no doubt, but you've got, like, De'Aaron Fox flowing into these, like, pull-up jumpers where Brook is doing what Brook has always done, but between Beasley on him or Dame or some Andre Jackson or whatever, it's just different, right? Like, opponents are shooting 46% from mid-range against the Bucks this year. Last year with Bud, they shot 40%. And a lot of that being, of course, because, last year and for years, it was Drew fighting around those screens, being able to stay on the guard's back as Brook is waiting for him. But we see their improvement on offense with Dame. So if that's not going to be as effective, and you're going to slip with, like, transition defense and stuff, then at that point, like, yeah, the defense is going to kind of, like, crater. And even then, the numbers, again, with Brook and Giannis on the court, and you can extend this to Dame, Middleton, Giannis, Brook as well. Those numbers are really good. That lineup is still great. And that's with Middleton. I mean, he had a really good, like, stretch recently, but lately it's been, like, game by game, or sometimes he's flowing into his pull-up twos off of screens. Everything looks great. Other times he scores, like, 5 points. But still, the flashes are there with Middleton, no doubt. It's the defensive personnel on the perimeter is still what it's going to be. Now, we can see if, Doc could have influence on, like, different point-of-attack defenders or chasing guys around screens in a different way. Like, I don't know. There's only so many different ways you can, like, fight around a screen with Brook Lopez being in drop. So we'll see there. Maybe sometimes it's just new coach, new spirit to the team, all that stuff. Like, that can make a difference as well. Again, they're the 2 seed. Let's not act like the sky is falling for the Bucks. Now if we can talk about Doc. So the last time we saw Doc, and again, if it ends up not being Doc, then this part's going to be a little awkward. What we saw was a foundation of a Harden and Embiid pick and roll on offense. So, okay, maybe Doc will just try to hammer home the Giannis Dame pick and roll all day long. Again, Bucks second in offensive rating on the season. And from Philly's defense, from what I can remember in the Doc years, or at least since they got Harden, because, Harden prefers to switch on defense and stuff, I don't remember Philly's defense being very adventurous, which I guess is just a way to say, like, it wasn't like a heavy rotation defense, unless I'm just completely forgetting how Philly played defense under Doc Rivers. Which, okay, I mean, we've seen the best version of the Giannis Brook defenses also not be heavy rotation. I mean, they were the kings for years of we don't give up corner threes and we make you shoot a lot of mid-range jump shots, right? And we also don't give up a lot of stuff at the rim. But the perimeter defense was better, and again, they've been trying the drop scheme for a while now. So we will see there. I think the least that you want is you want the transition defense to be cleaned up under Doc and just random communication stuff around screens if they're not switching, or if you are switching, make sure both guys know you're switching, and we kind of go from there. I mean, one positive you can point to with the Bucks is, like, in the recent games, their defensive rebound percentage has been better, and that was also something that was worse, like, to open up the year. Doc, I expect him to ride out the Dame, Giannis, Brook, Middleton four-man group, and then fifth guy we'll see depending on whatever, between Beasley or Crowder or Connaughton, Jackson, Beauchamp, the guys. And as far as, one quick look at Twitter, everybody's just saying, Doc Rivers' playoff collapses the whole thing. Yeah, look, I don't know. They fired Adrian Griffin, they hired Doc Rivers, okay, let's go. Look, Doc is fine. And if that's going to be a hot take, then I guess, he's fine, okay? No, he does not compare to Spo or Nick Nurse in the East. And that's really the big thing to think about, Nick Nurse being in Philadelphia and not Milwaukee.